Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. Today on the program, Metro Manila mayors agree to a unified ticketing system to ease traffic congestion. While waiting for its rollout, there will be no confiscation of licenses of erring drivers. San Juan City Mayor and Metro Manila Council President Francis Zamora tells us more live. And later, the Commission on Elections kicks off its voters registration for the 2023 Barangay Sangguniang Kabataan polls. COMELEC spokesperson Rex Laudianco joins us on the program. A single ticketing system will be implemented in Metro Manila by the first quarter of 2023. It aims to come up with a common definition of traffic violations and respective penalties and make it easier for drivers to pay for their tickets. Here's Catherine Cruz with the details.
Metro Manila mayors agreed to implement the single ticketing system interconnected with the system of the Land Transportation Office for the apprehension of traffic violators and meting out penalties and demerits. 20 violations were included in the system, such as disregarding traffic signs, illegal parking, and violating the number coding scheme. According to Metro Manila Council President and San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora, mayors have agreed to standardize fines to avoid confusion, making the other cities lower their fines for some violations. Licenses will not be confiscated when apprehended once the policy is implemented, but the MMDA warned that tickets will still be issued to violators.
Magkakaroon lamang po ng moratorium sa pagkumpiska ng lisensya, pero hindi po ibig sabihin na hindi sila huhulihin. I-issuehan po sila ng ticket at isasubmit po yung listahan ng nahuli sa LTO para po hindi makapag-renew ng lisensya habang wala pa po itong interconnectivity ng LTO sa mga LGUs.
Once drivers accumulate 10 demerits, their licenses may then be confiscated and they would have a hard time renewing it.
This approach will allow us to properly monitor yung mga drivers po natin at sa ganun po talagang yung pagbibigay po natin ng lisensya, we only give it to deserving and qualified drivers.
Paying for traffic tickets will also be easier through bayad centers. Drivers we talked to favor the implementation of the single ticketing system.
I think it's also good na we have a monitoring system na nakikita yung mga errant drivers, which also reflects dun sa renewal ng mga licenses, no?
Okay lang naman, basta alam ko hindi na kinukuha yung lisensya babayaran na lang sa sa malapit na bayad center.
The technical working group of the program will have another round of consultations by next year to finalize the details of the violations and its penalties, including demerits, before its implementation in Metro Manila by 2023. Catherine Cruz, CNN Philippines.
Let's go straight to the source of the story. Metro Manila Council President and San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora. Mayor Zam, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, good morning, Ria. Thank you for having me again on CNN.
No, okay, first, all Metro Manila mayors have agreed to this single ticketing system. What happens now? What part of the process are you in?
Yeah, that's correct. We had a Metro Manila Council meeting last Saturday, and all the mayors of the 17 LGUs have agreed for the single ticketing system. So what happens now? We are still in the process of finalizing the guidelines. That is why the target implementation will be first quarter of 2023. There will be one more technical working group meeting by January to be hosted by San Juan to finalize all the details. But just to give the public an idea, what does this mean exactly? Number one, there will be one single, ticket, Metro Manila wide. And number two, there will be a common 20 violations that will be implemented uniformly. So the top 20 traffic violations that the technical working group have come up with will be the basis of this single ticketing system, and even the fines will now be standardized and unified. So that is what the technical working group is doing. We are harmonizing the amounts of the fines because right now, because of our existing ordinances, overspeeding may have a different fine in San Juan as opposed to Quezon City or Taguig. So we have to uniform all of this. and that will be through an ordinance. So that will take a little more time, but it is doable. Now, with regard to the moratorium on the confiscation of licenses, the mayors have agreed to do this, but there are also some LGUs that have ordinances regarding confiscation. So they will eventually have to pass ordinances first for a moratorium on the implementation of the confiscation. So again, I believe that in the coming days and weeks, we will see this unfold properly here in Metro Manila, and I believe this will really help ease traffic in NCR. Number one, because now that people will see that the fines, the penalties will be standardized, implementation will be better, and of course we are hoping that the motorists, number one, will not violate traffic regulations. At the end of the day, you will only get fined if you violate. If you do not violate, you will not be fined. And less violations on the road will mean less apprehensions, and it will mean less traffic stoppage, because sometimes when a violator is apprehended, it eventually blocks the flow of traffic, and this causes an accumulation of vehicles.
Yeah,
so this is where we are now, Ria.
Okay, now you mentioned that certain LGUs will need to pass ordinances first in order for those respective LGUs to not confiscate driver's licenses. Can you tell us, Mayor, which LGUs these are exactly?
Okay, based on the meeting last Saturday, Makati and Manila have current ordinances that are in place. So they will have to pass a moratorium first, or an ordinance setting a moratorium for this. I spoke with Mayor Lacuna just last night, and she will have to coordinate with the MMDA Chairman Artes for some specifics regarding this. So I told her that I will inform Chairman Artes about her concern. And of course, Makati also initially had informed us that they have existing ordinances, which Mayor Abby Binay mentioned. They will pass a set of ordinances also setting the moratorium for the implementation of these. So again, we will have to amend certain local ordinances for all of this to take effect, because ordinances are laws, and we cannot just not follow them. So amendments have to be made, or new ordinances have to be passed to be able to align our local laws with the single ticketing implementation and the non-confiscation of licenses.
Okay, Mayor, this is a fairly big undertaking, which is why the timeline really is, to make it fully implemented, not until the first quarter of next year. But between now and then, who exactly will take charge of the rollout?
Okay, right now, LGUs can still issue tickets, but we cannot confiscate. Now, the public must understand that even if we do not confiscate your license, but we issue tickets to you because you have violated traffic regulations, you will have to pay for them. Now, if the public thinks that, oh, they did not confiscate my license, I can decide not to pay, that is a wrong rationale, because your violation will eventually accumulate higher fines. So by the time you renew your license, you will see that your fines have compounded. And once you accumulate a certain number of demerit points, which I asked the LTO to explain to the public, once you accumulate 10 demerit points, we can now confiscate your license. So it is not a general rule that licenses cannot be confiscated. There will be a time when we can confiscate once you have accumulated 10 demerit points. Again, the question, how do we know how much demerit points you have accumulated? This will be solved by the integration of the database of the LTO, of the LGUs of MMDA. So the bigger picture here is the integration of our database, because by next year, once the integration is done, if the city apprehends a violator, we can immediately check real time on the spot based on the license if you have demerit points already. This means, are you an erring driver? Have you violated several times already, thus accumulating demerit points? So if we see in our system that you have, we can already confiscate. But then again, all of these will still happen by the first quarter of next year.
All right. Now, Mayor, what happens if, for example, enforcers still insist on getting a driver's license if they've committed a violation, especially if this does not happen in the cities that still need to pass ordinances like Makati and Manila? What should a motorist do?
Okay, Secretary Abalos was present during the meeting, and in fact, it was really SILG Abalos who reiterated his appeal to the mayors not to confiscate. So, San Juan, we have been compliant to the DALG Memorandum Circular. We haven't been confiscating, and other LGUs as well. Now, with regard to Manila and Makati, they have existing ordinances, which we of course respect. So we will have to wait for these LGUs first to amend their ordinances or to pass new ordinances setting a moratorium, because these laws are in place. Again, it is a question of the local autonomy. In fact, there's no question of our local autonomy. It's just that Secretary Abalos, of course, is requesting all the Metro Manila mayors to support the moratorium, and it can be done officially by amending ordinances or passing new ones.
All right, Mayor, we need to...
So regarding your question, Ria, the way I understand this is these cities will have to make amendments first in their local legislation.
All right, Mayor, we'll be taking a short break, but do stay with us. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo, and our source today, Metro Manila Council President and San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora. Mayor, I want to talk about Metro Manila traffic. I mean, it is the holidays. I believe traffic has even surpassed pre-pandemic levels. What are the measures that Metro Manila mayors are discussing to address this issue?
Well, specifically now for the Christmas season, the MMC has already coordinated with our malls for them to adjust their operating hours from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. so as to not go along with the traffic rush. And starting November 30 also, there's already a moratorium on diggings on the road. So all LGUs and the MMDA must have fixed all diggings by November 30. So that's already in place. And looking at the macro level or the bigger picture, all the plans and programs with regard to the subways and of course the NLEX, SLEX connectors, all of these eventually as they are completed will help ease the traffic situation. Now, it really has to be a two-pronged approach. Government and the people will have to really work. Again, less traffic violators will mean better traffic flow, because again, if there are violators who are apprehended, what results is an obstruction during the discussion once they are violated. So less violators will mean better traffic flow also. So I will eventually be meeting with the DOTR regarding the Metro Manila subway program. I have already requested their presence in the next Metro Manila Council meeting for them to present to us the planned railways here in Metro Manila. And specific to that is the subway program, which I feel will really help us also, because that will mean more people traveling using other means, not necessarily just cars.
Right, public transportation is so key, and the truth is it's kind of too late to do any long-term fixes here as far as this holiday season is concerned. But what else should be done, at least in the short term, to resolve traffic problems, and anything you want to tell the public and motorists to help ease this major discomfort this time of year?
Well, the reality, Ria, is everyone's out already. In the last 2.5 years, we were under a pandemic. Up to now, yes, we are, but people are just all going out. And some people call it revenge shopping. They're now going to the malls because they haven't been out for a long time. So this is something that we really just have to face. And once all of these infrastructure projects are completed, we are expecting better traffic flow. Now, how long will this take? We will have to see from the DOTR. But again, the proposed subway system in Metro Manila will be something to look forward to, because if indeed these network of railways will be implemented in the next few years, we will now have different modes of travel. We have seen the good effect of the Skyway North and South connector. I have
right.
passed through it several times, and it bypasses EDSA. Now, people do not necessarily have to pass through EDSA or C5 anymore. They can pass through the Skyway, and we have seen the benefit of that. So we are hoping for the completion of all of these projects in the near future, so that we can feel the experience of having a better traffic flow in Metro Manila.
All right, Mayor, thank you very much. Always a pleasure speaking to you. That was MMC President San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora. We will be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Stay tuned.